This chapter can be explained in 2 words. No, wait, 3 words? Wait, 4 words. Rikudo motherfucking Senin. Yes. Sage of 6 motherfucking paths. I'll say it again. Sage of 6 motherfucking paths. Finally introduced in Naruto. Anyways, welcome back YouTubers. CRAAZZZYY from Otaku Related here with another Naruto quick review, theories and discussion on the latest chapter of the Naruto manga, chapter 670. And this, I said last week's chapter was the best. Correction, this week's chapter was the best. Basically, it just starts off with the Sage of 6 Paths, except he doesn't introduce himself as the Sage of 6 Paths. He goes by his real name, which is Hagoromo Otsutsuki. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, but that's his name anyways. So yeah, he comes in and he basically, because Naruto's in like another realm or like dimension now, he's like in his inner self. You know how usually when he wants to talk to Kurama or any of the other tailed beast, he goes into like this dimension where you can talk to them. He's basically in a similar dimension to that, where he's talking to Hagoromo, and basically Hagoromo says that he like has the ability to travel like through these dimensions, and that's how he has like so much knowledge and things like that. And while he was conversating with Naruto, Naruto's like, I have no idea what the fuck you're saying, and then so he basically dumbs down his language like in an instant. And now Naruto is just like, okay, now you're talking like a retard. So Hagoromo's like, okay, I'll step it up a little bit. So now he's like talking more, a little bit professionally. Basically, it's on like Naruto's level, not too stupid, not too smart. Basically, just the way Naruto likes things. So yeah, he's conversating with Naruto, and he's telling him about his past, his present, and his future, and all kinds of things like that, and about the war and things. And I don't even know where to begin with this chapter. It was just so insane. Like every single question that has been like asked in Naruto is like half of them are like answered in this solely one chapter. That's just how informative and great it was. Like even if there was no action in this chapter, just reading through this chapter was just like, oh my god, okay, yes, next, please, okay, what the fuck, all right, yes, next, oh my god, okay, and like it was just like the biggest. Like you couldn't comprehend all that by reading it once. I think I had to read the chapter like 3 or 4 times just to get the chapter solidly through, which was just insane. So after Hagoromo dumbs down his language, he's basically like to Naruto, I am more of what you will call the Sage of 6 Paths. And then Naruto's like, I'm meeting a god, you know, I'm in the presence of a god, and all that kind of stuff. And then Hagoromo goes on to say that he's the creator of Ninshu, and then Naruto's like, you mean ninjutsu? And then he's like, no, Ninshu. Ninshu was created to bring about peace and love and things like that, whereas ninjutsu was brought up to bring about things such as war and conflict and hate and violence, and that's the difference between Ninshu and ninjutsu, as we found out in this chapter. And then he goes on to mention things about his mother, Kaguya Otsutsuki. Not sure if I pronounced that right, but that's her name anyways. And yeah, he goes on to talk about her and how she stole the forbidden fruit from the tree of origin, the chakra tree, how she stole the chakra fruit, and then how when she consumed that fruit, she became the most powerful being in the world. And then Naruto's like, oh, is she more powerful than you? And then Hagoromo's like, she's more powerful than anything you've ever known. She's like greater than God, basically. She's the most powerful. She was the first. And he goes on to explain about how his mother basically is the most powerful of all the ninjas ever created. How she's basically the mother, the mother of all ninjas. Basically, she's the thing that's she's the sole spreader of all chakra on the planet today. Basically, is what he goes on to explain. And then he continues, and how he says that his mother had 2 children, Hagoromo and another child. But what's really interesting is we don't really find out a lot about the other child, and I really wanted to know, you know, what's that child's name, what happened to him, and things like that. But he explains a little bit that after Kaguya gave birth to 2 children, those 2 children had to face the wrath of the Jubi, because the Jubi wanted the chakra fruit back, and it was enraged. So what they did was they sealed the Jubi into Hagoromo. So they sealed the Jubi into Hagoromo because they really couldn't kill it and they couldn't defeat it. So basically the only way was to seal it, and they sealed it into Hagoromo, and that's basically why Hagoromo, I'm assuming that's why Hagoromo would be more powerful than his brother, because he sealed the Jubi inside of him. And that's probably why they haven't told us a lot about Hagoromo's brother, but I really do hope that in the near future they do tell us more about it. Anyways, continuing on from that, after Hagoromo sealed the Jubi within him, he went on to have two children, Ashura and Indra. I'm pretty sure their names were. So yeah, Hagoromo went on to have two children, Ashura and Indra, and he said how Indra was the genius. Basically, he inherited all of the Ninshu, whereas Ashura was basically the bozo child, the useless child, the one that was basically good for nothing. And then he's basically comparing them now. Well, it's a bit too convenient, I guess you could say. It's a bit of a comparison between Naruto and Sasuke. How Sasuke was the genius that everybody loved in the beginning, and Naruto was the good for nothing prankster who nobody could give two shits about. And he goes on to Hagoromo goes on to explain how Indra, well, from the start, as like in the chapter, you can see how Indra basically is the birth of the Sharingan, and he basically has all the power, and that Indra was able to accomplish everything by himself, and by doing that, he found reason to believe that power can accomplish any goals. And then he moves on to explain about Ashura's life, and how Ashura found that via the help of others and through love and compassion and understanding, you will also be able to accomplish the exact same goals, if not more. So basically you have Indra, who uses power to accomplish his goals, and then you have Ashura, who uses love and compassion to accomplish his goals, which is, extremely similar to Sasuke and Naruto. How Naruto uses the love and the hope of the village, and Sasuke just uses people and his Sharingan to basically kick ass and take names later. So he goes on to explain that, and how he explains that even after the death of Ashura and Indra, they have been continuously being reincarnated. Their chakra has not been gone, it has been moved on to next generations and generations and generations and generations after. So then the final page of this chapter basically concludes with Hagoromo saying, Naruto, you are the reincarnation of my son Ashura. And Naruto's just like, what the fuck, I'm Ashura? Insane. So but that also gives reason to believe that if Naruto is the reincarnation of Ashura, then Sasuke is more than most likely the reincarnation of Indra. And also, even though Ashura doesn't really look a lot like Naruto, they don't really have a visual comparison, Indra has a very, very, very likeliness to Sasuke. I mean, it's like, as soon as I saw Indra, I'm like, yeah, that's not Indra, that's obviously Sasuke. I mean, like, what the fuck is this? It's obviously Sasuke. So yeah, as soon as I said Indra, I'm just like, Sasuke. So, there's more than reason to believe that Indra is Sasuke. And then if we go back further in time, there's more reason to believe that Hashirama was the reincarnation, or the previous reincarnation of Ashura, and that Madara was the previous reincarnation of Indra. So they've obviously been reincarnated further and further, into time. So they've kept on being reincarnated until they find their soul reincarnation. And I guess everyone is waiting to see this soul reincarnation of what, I guess, Naruto becoming the Sage of Six Paths, because beforehand we have Hagoromo explaining to Naruto that when he found out these two beliefs, that one that power can solve anything and one that love can solve anything, Hagoromo found a new train of eyesight, a new thought, that he sided with love instead of power, and he gave the rest of Ninshu, he gave the birth of Ninshu, basically the history of Ninshu, to Ashura. And then he thought that Indra would comply with Hagoromo's wishes, with his father's wishes, but instead it ended up being a war. And I'm not 100% sure, but that might be the first great ninja war or something like that. Ashura versus Indra could be the first great ninja war. And also in the last page, we also see how Ashura was able to control the chakra of the tailed beast, similar to how Naruto controls a chakra form of his 9 tails and not like a physical form, which was also really cool. Anyways, guys, that is my review for the latest manga Naruto chapter 670. I hope you like this review. Any comments, theories, or questions that you may have for me, just leave them in the comment section below. And as always, guys, thanks for watching.